Hi folks, I'm Mark Hasiuk. Welcome to the Mark Hasiuk Show on Roadkill Radio. According to The Activist, a newsletter produced by the Abortion Rights Coalition of Canada, two law students at the University of British Columbia, Kendra Shoup and Robin Phillips, have drafted a, quote, generic municipal bylaw, which they'll send to city councils around BC. And if adopted by any city council, Vancouver's, for example, the bylaw would outlaw, essentially, the display of aborted fetus pictures in public. Pro-life groups say this is another effort by the pro-abortion lobby to snuff out pro-life expression from the public square. Our guest tonight thinks so. Cecilia von Dehn is a longtime pro-life activist, and she joins us tonight from her home in Vancouver. Ms. von Dehn, welcome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Now, this shouldn't go anywhere. What they're proposing, banning images of aborted fetuses, would be an obvious, from my perspective, violation of Section 2 of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, which guarantees freedom of expression. And if the pro-abortion lobby thought it stood a chance, this bylaw, they'd have someone else other than a couple of UBC law students drafting the bylaw proposal. But, when it comes to abortion, as you know, Ms. von Dehn, the activism of politicians and judges knows no bounds. So what do you think? Does this bylaw proposal stand a chance?
Well, as you say, it could when it comes to this issue. But I think what the problem is that they seem to think that the opposition is to abortion is escalating. And you know, just recently we had in Vancouver the group from Calgary, the Canadian Centre for Bioethical Reform, who drove trucks with very graphic anti-abortion pictures on the truck going through Vancouver. They were here for a whole week,
right?
And they also had what they call life chain type of pictures, where they have also pictures of aborted fetuses, and they stand on the street corners. And you know, I think this has been sort of a problem to them, that they just cannot seem to get around the fact that the people still are opposing abortion. And this is just one other type of attempt to put a bubble zone around this whole issue.
Now, you know all about those bubble zones, and you know all about the clamping down. In January of this year, the BC Supreme Court dismissed your appeal after you were convicted last June of violating the province's bubble zone law, which forbids any, and I quote, counseling against abortion within 50 meters of an abortion clinic. Now, you ignored that law and protested outside the Every Women's Health Clinic at Commercial and Broadway here in Vancouver, right?
That's right. In June 2009.
Right.
And we were found guilty, and we had an appeal on that charge, and we are again found guilty. And now we have in September a hearing for a leave to appeal to the Supreme Court of Canada. Not the Supreme Court of Canada, but the Supreme Court of BC.
Right.
So, you know, we'll see how that goes. But with this issue in the courts as well, it seems to be, you know, you can have Occupy Vancouver, and you can block the streets, and you can do all sorts of things. But one or two people walking in front of an abortion clinic and passing out pamphlets or offering help to women is just too much for the province and the courts.
To say there's a double standard would be understating it. The only reason you were convicted and the only reason you lost your appeal was because the issue was abortion.
That's right.
And the deck is stacked against pro-lifers. The regular conventions, standard defenses don't really apply, do they?
No, but you know, the strange thing was that that I had done this already 3 times before, and the police had come and said that, well, you know, all you're doing is passing out the law of the land, which is the legislation.
Ms. von Dehn, I'm going to stop for a second. Tell the folks just briefly exactly what you were doing in front of that clinic on Commercial Drive in Vancouver.
Well, we were just, we had a big sign saying you are in a bubble zone, and then we had copies of of Bill 48, which is the Access to Abortion Services Act, and we just walked up and down and passed out the act, and we didn't talk about abortion. We didn't do anything else but just pass this out to people to keep them informed. And we did this a few times before, and as I said, the police said, well, you're just passing out the law of the land. And they checked with Crown, and there was no arrests and nothing. And all of a sudden, the third time when we did it, all of a sudden we were arrested.
Yeah.
So, but, as I say, the court still felt that this was a protest, even though we tried to say that we had the right to inform the public.
Right.
And so this is where it's at right now, and we're just going to see if we can get some action from more than one judge, which is in the BC Supreme. I think you have four judges, and you might get a better hearing. I don't know.
Okay. Good luck on that. Back to the UBC law students. Now, they're allied with the Abortion Rights Coalition of Canada, the ARCC. And I want to tell all our viewers that we invited representatives of the ARCC to come on here tonight, and they refused.
Invited them, though.
It is a radical group, and I want to read to you. I'm sure you've already seen this stuff, but for the benefit of our listeners, just bear with me. I'm going to read something from the Activist, which is the Abortion Rights Coalition of Canada newsletter, and this is I guess it's a testimony from an abortion activist. Her name is Candice Hagen. She's from PEI. Oh, from PEI, a great place. I don't know who got to her there. Now, this is right from her words. In the summer of 2009, I discovered that I was pregnant. Upon realization, I knew that I would not carry the pregnancy to term. It was neither a difficult nor an emotional decision for me. I examined my life as it was, and I knew I was not equipped to have my second child at the age of 22. The birth of my first child, I love this, invoked a raw awakening of my womanhood. It has been the most prominent and powerful experience of my life. The procedure went ahead as scheduled with no complications, and within a few weeks I felt like my body was once again my own. Personally, I felt no guilt or remorse. It sounds like Miss Hagen just had a corn removed. That is something. Now that gives folks an idea of what this group, and I am not for a minute suggesting that this group represents the vast majority of people in Canada who call themselves pro-choice. Because as you know, Ms. von Dehn, there have been Gallup polls recently that have shown that when it comes to sex selection abortion, most Canadians are against it, are they not?
That's true, but the pro-abortion movement is very, very strong. They give no incremental, availability. Abortion must be allowed, and of course in Canada we can have abortions right up to birth. And so they had a little trouble with the sex selection because they're a feminist movement. But
well, isn't that an interesting dichotomy? It's
stand, but they don't want to give 1 inch. They want to be able to have abortions for whatever reason at all. So we meet a lot of these people too at Commercial and Broadway in our weekly presence there, and there's many of these groups where they have big signs. My abortion was fabulous. This is sort of the thing they're trying to put their spin on it, and but it just doesn't work.
Now, as far as getting back to this bylaw for a second, because this is what caught our eye most recently. Do you use in your protests the pictures, or whatever you want to call them, demonstrations, the pictures of aborted fetuses? Have you been party?
We have a variation, and we find that. But I find that over the years that whether you have a very graphic picture of an aborted fetus or baby, or a smiling baby that's just a couple of months old or so, as long as they know you're against abortion. Yeah. They the same vehemence against the one is demonstrated. So we use both types. Some of us have the more graphic ones, and some of us have the more life is beautiful, or
Right.
choose life, or something like that,
I think that they misread. I don't think a lot of the people, especially at the ARCC, are that sophisticated, and they're definitely misreading the public sentiment here.
Oh, they did.
I know friends personally who don't share my views on abortion, who are not pro-life, who would be totally against something like this, banning people from holding up posters. I mean, that's un-Canadian, is what it is.
No, but I mean, you see, the pro-abortion movement is about 30 years behind. They just haven't caught up to the public opinion, and they're also getting a lot older. They don't have a very strong contingent of young people anymore. The youth are far more pro-life. It's been shown in the States and also in Canada. I mean, these young people that you led across Canada from Vancouver to Ottawa. Right. There were 22 young women and men, just all in their 20s. Right. Now, these people have never bought the pro, the anti-life slogans, right. And so the pro-abortion movement is really just not reading the sign of the time. So I think with this bylaw and so some of their protests, they're sort of lashing out, trying to sort of to do some sort of last-minute attempt to silence everybody.
Well, we're going to keep an eye on it, and I know you are. I'm going to be watching to see if this motion comes through Vancouver City Council. That is for sure. Cecilia von Dehn, thank you.
I haven't heard anything. I just received a little notice that they have passed my letter on to the members, but I haven't heard anything yet.
Okay. Well, if you do, let us know.
I will.
Cecilia von Dehn joining us from Vancouver. Thank you very much. We'll talk to you again.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye. Good night. Very interesting issue, folks. Despite what you think of the abortion issue, obviously this is a key element in this issue, but despite what you think, no one who believes in the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, who believes in freedom of expression, could support this type of arbitrary ban, which is so slanted, which is so politically motivated. And I don't think this is going anywhere, but if it does, you're going to hear it here first. Thanks for watching. I'm Mark Hasiuk. This was the Mark Hasiuk Show on Roadkill Radio. Check out roadkillradio.com for all program details. Good luck. God bless. We'll see you next time.